Welcome back. It's Vernon here again. Today I want to share something that might challenge everything you've been taught about honesty in relationships. There are 5 things that women after 60 must always keep private from their man. Not because you're being deceptive, but because you're being wise. Stay with me, because what I'll reveal might save you from making a costly mistake that could jeopardize both your health and your independence. Our culture tells us that good relationships require total honesty, and hiding anything is seen as dishonest. But this idea comes from a time when women had fewer assets and shared everything in relationships, with less at stake if there was betrayal. For women over 60, the reality is different. You may have built assets, received inheritance, or settled divorce matters. Family dynamics can be complicated, and health issues or emotional vulnerabilities could be used against you, impacting your self-worth. But before we start, take a moment to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on more insightful content like this. Now, let's explore the first thing you should keep private in your relationship after 60, because understanding this can protect your emotional and financial well-being. Secret number 1. Your complete financial picture. The Chinese philosopher Sun Tzu famously said in The Art of War, "Know your enemy and know yourself. In 100 battles, you will never be defeated." For women over 60, I'd reframe this wisdom. Know your worth and keep others guessing about your resources. In relationships, you'll never be targeted for what you have, but loved for who you are. Here's why your complete financial picture must remain private. Men who target older women often do so because they perceive them as financially vulnerable or emotionally lonely. When you reveal that you are financially secure, you may attract the wrong kind of attention, not from men who want to care for you, but from those who want you to care for them. I noticed this firsthand through the experience of my sister, who is in her early 60s and has always been financially independent. After a successful career in real estate and some wise investments, she built a comfortable nest egg. However, when she began dating again, she quickly realized that her financial stability could lead to unexpected complications. She shared with me how one man she dated began asking her questions about her assets, subtly probing about her savings and investments. At first, she thought he was just being curious, but she soon realized that his interest in her finances was more than just polite conversation. It was a red flag. He began dropping hints about combining finances, or how it would be so much easier if they shared everything. This isn't about lying or pretending to be financially struggling. It's about being strategically vague with the details. You can discuss shared financial responsibilities without merging assets or revealing the full extent of your resources. This could be seen clearly in the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. Romance scams targeting women over 60 lead to an average loss of $139,000 per victim, with many losing their entire savings to men who use emotional manipulation to gain their trust. You can share your financial values and habits, but not the specifics. Talk about being comfortable rather than providing exact numbers, and explain your approach to money management without detailing account balances. If a man pressures you for financial specifics or rushes to combine resources, it's a red flag. Practice saying, "I'm fortunate to be financially stable, and I prefer to keep financial details private until we know each other much better." A man who respects you will respect this boundary. A man who argues with it is showing you exactly why that boundary is essential. What specific financial information have you shared too quickly in past relationships? Think about that as we explore how financial transparency connects to our next secret, because the men who exploit your financial openness often use your emotional vulnerabilities as the pathway to your wallet. Secret number 2. Your past relationship wounds Building on the importance of protecting your financial information, there's another vulnerability that requires even more careful guarding: the emotional wounds from your past relationships. These wounds, when exposed too early or too completely, can become tools for manipulation in the wrong hands. The Roman philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." For women after 60, I would add, you have power over your story, not everyone deserves to hear it. Realize this, and you will find protection. Emotional manipulators excel at identifying and exploiting insecurities. When you openly share your deepest hurts, you're essentially providing a roadmap for someone to control you. The man who seems most understanding of your past pain may be the one using it against you later. This doesn't mean you should never be vulnerable. Rather, it's about the right timing and discernment. Early on in a relationship, share what you've learned and how you've healed, but avoid delving into the details of what broke you. Talk about your growth, not the scars. Take Oprah Winfrey, who has been candid about her tumultuous relationships and the emotional baggage she carried. In her 60s, Oprah has been very selective about who she allows into her personal life. Her experiences with past relationships have made her cautious about how much of her vulnerabilities she shares with others. She has learned to share her growth and healing, not the raw wounds that others could exploit. Contemporary research from the Journal of Elder Abuse confirms this, showing that emotional manipulation often starts with trauma bonding, where manipulators use shared vulnerability to create an artificial sense of intimacy and then exploit it to control behavior. So what can you do? Prioritize emotional resilience. Focus on what you've learned from challenges, not just the pain. Highlight your strength and growth to attract healthier connections. Limit early vulnerability. Keep your deepest wounds private at the start of a relationship. Sharing too much too soon can open the door to manipulation. Be cautious of trauma bonding. Watch for emotional closeness that forms too quickly. True intimacy takes time, not manipulation through shared vulnerability. Set emotional boundaries. Just like with finances, set limits on what personal history you share. This protects your sense of self and guards against manipulation. If you know someone who is navigating the complexities of relationships after 60, or someone who might benefit from understanding the importance of emotional boundaries, share this video with them. It might just provide the insight they need to protect their heart and build more meaningful, respectful connections. Remember, your emotional history is yours to share when you're ready, not for anyone else to use for their gain. By keeping certain things private, you maintain your integrity and ensure that relationships formed in your later years are based on respect and genuine connection, not exploitation. Secret number 3. Your health, anxieties, and fears. Let me reflect on what we've discovered so far. How financial transparency can make you a target for exploitation, and how sharing your emotional wounds can provide a roadmap for manipulation. Both of these pale in comparison to the risks of revealing your health vulnerabilities too early in a relationship. I once made a huge mistake like this with my ex-wife. After she received some concerning test results that required follow-up with a specialist, she shared her health fears with me, including her worries about potential cancer, her concerns about becoming a burden, and her financial fears about medical expenses. At first, I offered to drive her to appointments, help with medical decisions, and even suggested she might want to get her affairs in order just in case. But I was slowly positioning himself as indispensable while simultaneously reinforcing her fears about being alone and sick. When her tests came back clear, I seemed almost disappointed. I continued to treat her as if she were fragile and declining, making decisions for her, limiting her activities for her own good, and gradually isolating her from friends and family who might challenge my increasing control over her life. The ancient Greek physician Hippocrates established the principle of patient confidentiality, understanding that health information could be used to harm as well as heal. This wisdom applies powerfully to relationships after 60. Your health fears can become tools of control in the wrong hands. Why must health anxieties be carefully guarded? Unscrupulous men often target women after 60 precisely because they assume older women are more vulnerable to health issues and more likely to need care. When you reveal specific health fears, you may attract men who see opportunity rather than partnership. Some men will use your health anxieties to position themselves as your rescuer and protector, creating artificial dependency. Others will use your fears to convince you that you should be grateful for any relationship, regardless of how poorly you're treated. Still others will use health concerns to pressure you into financial decisions that benefit them. You can discuss the importance of staying healthy without revealing every concern or medical detail. Share your general approach to health and wellness, not your specific fears and anxieties. Talk about your proactive approach to healthcare, rather than your fears about decline. If someone pressures you for medical details or uses your health concerns to limit your independence, recognize these as red flags. This connects to our next secret because the men who exploit health anxieties often use family information as additional leverage for control. Secret number 4. Your family's private struggles. Imagine this. You've just started a new relationship and, feeling vulnerable, you confide in someone about a family crisis you're facing, maybe a struggling child, or a difficult situation with an aging parent. At first, it feels like a natural step, but over time, you start to notice subtle shifts. What seemed like a supportive gesture soon feels like emotional leverage. This is the danger of revealing too much about your family struggles too early in a relationship. Manipulative individuals can use these very vulnerabilities against you. They may offer help with hidden motives, or worse, use your family issues to pressure you into decisions that serve their interests. It's a hard lesson I've learned through observation. Sharing personal struggles, especially family-related ones, with the wrong person can have unintended consequences. Rather than strengthening the bond, it can create emotional dependence and, eventually, manipulation. Studies from the Family Violence Prevention Fund highlight this dynamic, showing that emotional manipulation often begins with a partner offering help during family crises, only to later use that assistance as leverage for control. So, how can you protect yourself? It's about maintaining boundaries. You can express that your family matters to you without revealing specifics that could be used against you. Instead of diving into private struggles, simply say, "My family is important to me, and I believe in supporting them while keeping healthy boundaries." Have you ever had to deal with family struggles that someone tried to use against you? How did you handle it? Share your experience in the comments below, or leave a protect to show you're setting boundaries to keep your family matters private. By keeping certain matters private, you create a stronger, more authentic relationship based on respect, not manipulation. Secret number 5. Your deepest insecurities about aging. Before we dive into the most personal secret, I want you to understand something crucial. Aging is not a curse, but a journey that we all must embrace with grace and strength. I witnessed something painful with my friend Ruth, a 69-year-old widow who had always been proud of her appearance and independence. When Ruth began dating again after 5 years of being alone, she found herself sharing her deepest fears with George, her potential partner, her concerns about looking old, becoming irrelevant, being alone in her final years, and the changes in her body and mind. George initially reassured Ruth about her aging anxieties, telling her age was just a number, and that he would never leave her like others might. But over time, he used these insecurities against her. When Ruth wanted to spend time with friends, he would suggest she was too old for it. If she disagreed with him, he'd imply her age was affecting her judgment, using her fears to control her behavior. The French philosopher Simone de Beauvoir wrote extensively about aging and women, acknowledging that society's treatment of older women creates unique vulnerabilities. She once said, "One is not born, but rather becomes a woman." And I would add that one becomes particularly vulnerable to exploitation when aging anxieties are shared too freely. These fears are often the most powerful weapons in an emotional manipulator's arsenal. When you reveal your deepest concerns about aging, whether it's about appearance, relevance, independence, or desirability, you're giving someone a roadmap for how to manipulate your emotions and make you feel grateful for any attention or validation. Men who target older women often begin by addressing these insecurities, making you feel young, attractive, and desirable again. But once you're emotionally dependent on their validation, they start using those same insecurities to control you. "You're lucky I love you despite your age" becomes their weapon of choice. I've read a research from the American Psychological Association. It shows that women over 60 who express high levels of aging anxiety are 40% more likely to remain in unhealthy relationships because they believe their age limits their options for finding love and respect. The key is to embrace aging as a source of strength rather than shame, and never let anyone use your age against you. Share your wisdom, your experience, and your continued growth rather than your fears about decline. Present aging as an adventure, not a limitation. Instead of saying, "I'm worried about getting old and being alone," try saying, "I'm excited about this phase of my life and the wisdom I'm gaining." Instead of sharing insecurities about your appearance, focus on your health, vitality, and the experiences you're still creating. Any man who makes you feel ashamed of your age or uses your aging concerns to manipulate you is not worthy of your time, regardless of how lonely you might feel. Your age is not a limitation, it's a badge of honor that represents decades of survival, growth, and wisdom. Conclusion. We've explored 5 crucial secrets that women after 60 must carefully guard: your complete financial picture, your past relationship wounds, your health anxieties and fears, your family's private struggles, and your deepest insecurities about aging. Each of these areas represents a potential vulnerability that can be exploited by the wrong person at the wrong time. You are not obligated to be an open book to anyone, regardless of how much they claim to love you or how lonely you might feel. Real love respects boundaries. Genuine care doesn't demand complete transparency. True partnership develops trust gradually, not through forced vulnerability. You don't need to become closed off or suspicious of all men. It means you should be strategic about trust, gradual in your vulnerability, and protective of the assets, emotional, financial, and physical, that you've spent a lifetime building. After watching this video, take time to reflect on the relationships in your life, whether romantic or platonic, and honestly evaluate if you've revealed more than you should have too soon in any of these 5 areas. While you don't need to retract what you've already shared, consider pacing yourself differently moving forward. You can embrace the wisdom of taking time to nurture trust and say with confidence, "I believe in letting relationships grow gradually," or "I value privacy as a foundation for healthy connections." It's not about hiding, it's about protecting the depth of what truly matters, while allowing space for trust to unfold naturally. You can explore more insights that offer different perspectives on love after 60 in the playlist Women After 60, Love and Life, and dive into life philosophy lessons across various aspects in the Life Lessons After 60 playlist. Your support motivates me to continue sharing personal stories, lessons, and experiences, so please like and share this video. And don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel to get notified when new videos are published. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.